Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPclub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPclub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPclub.lv today and get a generous 200% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. And make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPclub.lv. Visit VIPclub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPclub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help.
Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host. That's right, the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your weekly chalk talk in between the lines with my good friend and colleague, Mr. Beam 'em Up, Scotty Webb, talking some MLB. We had last week off. We're back at it this week. Shout out to our new sponsor, VIPclub.lv. Use the promo code ECSI at checkout. Tell them JD sent you, and the boys will take care of you. Shout out to the guys behind the glass, Mr. Joseph Shea, Mr. Cade Horton, Mr. Ben himself, as we get ready for a night of chalk talk. And to the ECSI VIPs, we've already cashed our first prop of the night. And that was Mr. Gunnar Henderson, plus 115. Hits, runs, and RBIs, leadoff double, and scored by Mr. Santander. So one in the books already. I tell you, our props in our start of our week 3 has been hotter than the Sahara Desert in mid-July. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Jeff, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Look, man, I'm just getting older and older every day. That's all.
Yeah. Well, what little hair I have, all gray, and but at least we have something a little left, a little gray underneath here. How goes it? We had last week off, so 2 weeks to talk about some MLB. Got some games going off already. As I said, Baltimore 1-0 in your neck of the woods. Bradish versus Glass now. That's the only score I have right now.
Yeah, baseball is about the haves and the have-nots, right? I mean, it's very divided. You got some teams that's got some players, and you got teams that don't. And the teams that don't, they don't play very well. But what I'll say is that I think these next couple of weeks, you've got some pretty good series going on here, and like the Angels played the Rangers last week, and you're starting to get the Angels played the Mariners and stuff like that. You got some separation between some of these teams a little bit. So I think as a handicapper and as somebody you're trying to judge talent and teams and what's going on and what's happening, I think it's important to keep an eye on some of this stuff. Like everybody thought the Dodgers were going to just run away with that division. Well, they're not, and the Padres aren't that far behind. And and all of a sudden, here's the Diamondbacks and the Giants trying to play. So it's just interesting how baseball works. And to be honest, that's why they play 162 games. Because at the end, the best teams win the divisions, and the best teams are in the playoffs. I'm not sure that you can say that about all the other sports, because you can get lucky sometimes and go on a run. I mean, I have nothing against the Minnesota Vikings last year, but they weren't a 14 and whatever team they were, and they got blasted in the playoffs, and out they went. So you don't have that in Major League Baseball that way. I'm sure you have teams that lose and when they're not supposed to, but you don't kind of have fraudulent teams that make it. So that's what I like. That's what I like about baseball.
I'm just getting my friend, Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor, who's been with us for a long, long time, and just saying, are you serious? Santadar and Henderson in the first inning. The prop market, it's funny. We've been the dinosaur, stiff arming. As you know, we were close in doing a deal with one of the big prop companies that we're supposedly going to go back to come football. And I've just been saying, you know what, it's the dog days of summer. Added a new source, and basically took a look at it, did some charting, some graphing for a little while, and said, you know what, it's time. And the first 2 weeks have been absolutely off the charts. It's just reading numbers. It's graphed, it's colored, then trying to look at the pitching matchups and see what works. And you know what? Hey, we're a little older than most of these people in the lanes, but I think we're a little wiser and sharper too. How do you think about that?
Well, one of the things, the Orioles are ahead 4-0, by the way. So one of the things that I looked at and kind of think about a lot of times is when it comes to sports gambling and wagering on sports, one of the finer traits to have is when you make wagers that win, that's great, and everybody bangs their chest and broadcast it everywhere that they won. It's the games that they didn't bet that they would have lost that matter. So learning how to understand the what's a good bet and what's a bad bet, that's important. And it's not about 15 games every night and then going out and picking 11 of them. And then going and saying, "Hey, I'm 7-4. I'm gonna be able to make a living doing this," because you won't. So it's more about, okay, well, there's 11 games I like. I'm only going to bet the best 3. What 3 can I bet? And then those 3 are great. And then you go and say, "Holy shit, that was great. I didn't play that game because, oh my God, did you see what happened?" And stuff happens. You're like, if you like the Rays today, well, you and I talked backstage, right, about SQDL, right? And these guys are out there broadcasting SQDL about how the Rays are the right team to be on, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, they're behind 4-0. They haven't batted yet. Now, that doesn't mean they won't go out and score 4 runs. It just means that be careful what you listen to. Be careful how you're doing things. And by all means, I say this all the time, but when you take your money to that window, you better be convicted in your play, or don't put that money across the table. Be like, yep, this is it. I am going to bet my life, and here it is, and give them your life. And if you win, great. And if you lose, well, you got 9 lives and you get to play tomorrow.
And that's the problem with the lanes, especially in social media, is the fact that it's turned into an entertainment. And I was listening to a person I respect real well, and he talked about how society is trying to get these people out when you actually need them in. You need the $5, $10, $15 players. He looked everyone straight in the eye and he says 99% of the people wager $25 or less a game. And I believe it. I know that. Listen, we see the guy that goes to the window that bet the 100,000, the 50,000, the 25,000. The average person is a $25, $50 player. Okay, they got $250, $300 a week that they want to poo-poo. It's their entertainment. It's the society, the Prize Picks of the world, the underdogs, all these bet 10 to win 1,000. That's what gets the people's juices flowing. Shit, you can go to the 7-Eleven and buy a $50 scratch ticket right now in Massachusetts. Okay, $50. Soon there'll be a $100 one. My point is, these guys would rather do, $10 in-game, same-game parlays with a chance to watch the game, and within 2 hours could win a couple thousand. And at the end of the week, if they did that 7 times and they bet $20 each day, What'd they do? They lost $140. $140 gets you 3 large pizzas, 2 things of wings, and 2 pitchers of beer nowadays. So it's how you spend your money.
Well, you can do that or go to the movies, right? I mean, I ain't going to the movies. So it's just all the same stuff. So we've been through this before, and there's so many different ways to play. There's so many different ways to get your entertainment out of it. There's no super one right way. There's many ways that you can sit there and learn from what you did to that you made mistakes on. But the idea that everything is one way or the other way is not true. It's just, there's old school guys that'll tell you this or that, and then there's these young guys that'll come up and give you all this data and all this SQDL stuff, and then they'll give you all this other stuff, and it's just how you feel when you walk to that window and you go, this game's not going to lose, and then you put your money on there. That's what you do, and then you do it again the next time. But if you get up to the window and you go, I'm not sure about this, well, what the hell are you doing at the window? Don't be on your phone and push the damn button that says, I'm playing this app right here. This is it. Don't do that. Be very convicted on your plays, and if they win, they win, and if they lose, they lose. So then you go and you do it again tomorrow, or you do it until you run out of money.
I'm going to let you take a look at tonight's board. There's a lot of people watching and listening right now. You want to go over. You don't have to go through every game, maybe some leans, some games that have gone off, some games coming up later tonight where your thoughts are, where you might be able to lead some people in the right direction, sir.
I think we got we had 1, 2, 3, 4 games that went off at 6:40 today. So at 7:00, you got Chicago and Pittsburgh. And I know a lot of people are liking the Chicago side here because of Stroman. One thing that, we talked about this just a second ago. One thing that I will tell everybody is when a pitcher throws a game and then his next start he throws against the same team, you got to be careful. Now, Stroman is in that spot, and so is Oviedo. Stroman threw a very good game the last time out. He's not thrown many bad games at all this season. Oviedo didn't do so well his last time out. His game score was less than average, and Stroman was more ace-like, which it has been all season. What I would tell you is that when that happens, in general terms, Stroman's season, he's a game score 63, so that's really high. He threw a game score 64 when he pitched against the Pirates the last time out. In general, you're not going to be above that number. You're going to be below that number because the hitters make adjustments, and you as a pitcher have to make adjustments to try to get the batters out. So I would look for Stroman to have a worse game than he did the last time out. And Oviedo threw a game score 45, which is much below average being 51, 50. And his game score in the season's a 52, but his last 7's a 57, and his last 3's a 59, even with that game score 45. So he's been pitching very well. So I would expect him to pitch a lot better today. So I'm not saying to go out and bet the Pirates, but I am going to tell you that I don't think this is a slam dunk for the Chicago Cubs. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that think it is, and they're playing it that way. So I would just caution that. I mean, the number's not that bad. I think it's like minus 130, something like that, 131. So it's not a crazy number. I like the other game better that starts at 7:05. St. Louis plays Washington. I'm on Montgomery today. My number in the game is more like 150, 155, I think is the number that I have. 154. I got the number at 143, so I think there's a little value in that number. But what I will tell you is that I've been pretty high on Gore who's pitching for the Nationals tonight. But over the season, they both have the same game score. Over the last 7, Montgomery's been a little worse. But looking at the data and the numbers today, you're looking at a decent outing from Montgomery and a decent outing from Gore. So then it becomes, okay, what about the offense? Well, the offense right now is all St. Louis, and second to that, Montgomery's left-handed. Now that matters because Washington has played 27 games against left-handed pitching. They've only won 8. So they're 8-19 against left-handed pitching. So I took that. I took St. Louis at the 143 number. And then you got Seattle playing against New York, and you got Kirby and Cole, and everybody that I've heard or listened to talk is all about, well, Cole's pitching tonight, and Cole is the Yankees ace, and Cole is this, and Cole is that. Well, I'm just going to tell you this. Over the last 7 starts, he's a game score 52. Okay, 51's average. So he's barely better than average over his last 7 starts. And he's thrown a 4.58 xFIP out there tonight and a 4.21 Sierra. So those are average numbers. His strikeout rate right now is it's 10.3. His swing and miss, which is something that I thought was going to be a super high number. He's just not quite Garrett Cole right now, and especially the Garrett Cole that started the season. So I'm not saying that Seattle's got this greatest offense in the world or whatever, but this kid Kirby can pitch. In fact, Kirby's got a 3.27 xFIP, 3.34 Sierra, 1 run completely better than where Garrett Cole is. And the New York Yankees currently are the 28th ranked offense in all of baseball. And obviously, since Judge has been hurt, that's all you see is how terrible their offense is. But it merits that. They're the worst offense in baseball going back that far. So I think you might as well take a flyer on Seattle. I did. I took Seattle and I got them at basically plus 100 there. So I took that game. Colorado plays Cincinnati. Cincinnati's getting ready to win 10 games in a row if they can win tonight. They're throwing Noah Davis tonight against Lively. I didn't really do too much handicapping on this game. Freeland was the original starter that pushed him back. Colorado is just not a very good team. Cincinnati has a lot of mojo, and they have a lot of enthusiasm. I would caution everybody to understand that Hunter Green, their big fastball throwing starting pitcher, is on the IL right now. So be careful because that team does not have even though they're in first place at the National League Central. Oh my God, the Cincinnati Reds are in first place. Anyway, they don't have the depth of starting pitching to last. So sure, they can go out and get some trades and do some different things and all of that, but they don't have the pedigree and they don't have the pitching to get there at the end. So they're going to fade, but it's a great story. I love it. The youth, if you haven't figured it out, youth is winning baseball games. Oakland is playing Cleveland tonight. Savali is probably one of the best pitchers you'll ever see. He gets hit a lot, but he finds ways to win. Playing against the Oakland A's, who have turned things around, making Kansas City, the Royals, kind of the doormat of baseball anymore. I stayed off of that game just because the number's kind of big and Savali's kind of bad, but just didn't like it. Too much money. Medina, it's not Medina. I think it's Waldichuk is going to start, and Medina's going to come in that game. Boston plays Minnesota tonight. Maybe Jeff can help me on that one a little bit for Crawford. Crawford's only pitched 3 games, I think, since he's come back off the IL, and his average start is about 3 innings. So he's more than kind of an opener kind of guy, but he's not going deep in these games. And then he's facing Ober, and Ober's a game score of 51 the last time out, 59 so far for the season. He's been really, really good. He came in and took care of Kenta Maeda's spot. Kenta Maeda coming back pretty soon. So this is an interesting situation here. I'm not playing this game, but I kind of like the idea that Boston can hang in this game. If not, actually win the first 5 innings, even though Ober's pretty good. Crawford, I think, he's got some good numbers today. And Minnesota's not been a great offense, where Boston's been better. Arizona plays Milwaukee tonight. Arizona, everybody's been all over and how good they are. Nothing wrong with that. Again, they have 2 good pitchers at the top of the rotation, but they're not throwing one tonight. Nelson's probably the worst of the bunch that they have, even though he's got some good projected numbers. He's got a 5.97 xFIP number and a 6.04 Sierra number tonight. And Colin Ray is the starter for Milwaukee. And if I told you Colin Ray had a strikeout rate of 9.23 per 9 innings, I don't think you'd believe me, but he does. And so I like Milwaukee tonight. I didn't play that game just because Arizona's been a little bit streaky hot. So I think Milwaukee wins, but I don't really like Milwaukee's team that well. Texas plays the White Sox tonight. This is a good matchup with Eovaldi and Cease. Cease is getting better, but of all the pitchers on the board today, he's the highest walk rate over the last 7 starts. So he's putting guys on base, and you don't want to put guys on base if you're facing the Texas Rangers. So I'm good with taking the Texas Rangers here. My number was minus like 180 for Eovaldi tonight. Eovaldi's been pitching like one of the best pitchers in baseball. So give me Texas. The Mets came out and really handed one to the Astros yesterday. I would be extremely shocked, and I mean extremely shocked, if they did that tonight. Yes, Verlander's on the mound facing his old team tonight against Valdez. I'm on Valdez. I think Houston's a big, big favorite, and they're not showing it in the line. One of the things here is Verlander's been good, and then he's been bad. He's been good. He's been bad. He's been good. It's just clockwork for him for his starts this season, and he's off of a good start. So I'm expecting him to be a bad start for him, and he might be a little fired up, so he might have a little go juice early. But Valdez is left-handed, and again, that matters because just like before, we talked about the Washington Nationals being 8-19 against left-handed pitching. The New York Mets are 8-17 against left-handed pitching, and they're on the road in this spot. They're not good in either one. So give me the Astros. I talked a little bit about the Padres just a minute ago. Not big, but Lugo's on the mound coming back from his IL stint, and he's facing DeSclafani from San Francisco. San Francisco is a gritty, tough team. They're just gritty, tough. They never give up. They fought back, and they tied the game last night, won the game in 10 innings, hit a home run to beat San Francisco, or to beat the Padres. This is a game where I'm going to stay away. When normally a pitcher comes back off of the IL after they've already started the season, not like they've missed half the season and this is their first start. So Lugo's pitched eight games already, and then he missed, these 4 or 5 or 6, 7, however many he's missed here. I like to go against them. Ideally, they're not going to be at their best their first time out. So I like to go against that. Now, having said that, I don't like DeSclafani's numbers today, so I'm staying away. The last game is a classic Dodgers-Angels, and the Angels are showing something here. That offense is pretty good. The pitching has been good enough, and tonight we'll see. Kershaw's on the mound against Detmers. The numbers, I think, minus 120 or something like that for the Dodgers, and that's a pretty low number for the Dodgers, to be honest. Especially with a Kershaw start. Detmers is really good at striking guys out, but he's also hittable. I know that sounds weird, but he gets a lot of strikeouts, but his batting average against is 276. Keep in mind the league average is 247, I think. It's 247 or 248. So he's 30 points higher than the league average on batting average. So that means balls are in play, guys are on base, and he tends to wear out. So he only goes 5 or 6 innings. Then you got the bullpen. And that's a lot of times where the Dodgers can make hay. So I wouldn't mind a small play on the Dodgers here tonight. So anyway, those are kind of my thoughts, leans, or whatever in these games. And then we can get into kind of whatever else you want to as we get kind of go through this some.
I want to piggyback off of the Dodgers and coming off 114 wins last year. I think their under-over was 93, something stupid. It was like maybe 95, I'll say. There's like a 19-game difference, and everyone just wants to, of course, pencil them in. They're going to win the West, and they're going to be in the NLDS, NLCS, whatever, versus the Braves or whoever is last man standing. And to watch this team implode in their back end. Now, this team, like the Yankees, I'm going to use the word decimated, but there is injury after injury after injury for both these teams. And to have San Fran to walk in there and sweep them, and that Sunday game, we gave out San Fran Sunday. But my point is, that was to match the Dodgers in wins for the regular season so far. And then here's the Arizona Diamondbacks, which no one's talking about, just going out there whistling Dixie and just winning, scoring. Fun team to watch. Put the ball in play, first to third, steal bases. They have an ace with Gallen. And my point is, to you, we know the Dodgers payroll and checkbooks is endless. We know their farm system is long. Is this just sit back, wait, just keep muscling through this? The guys are going to come back, or are they going to have to make some moves here?
They got to go get pitchers.
Okay.
I mean, they let's just put it this way. Urias hasn't been anything good all season, and he was rehabbing, got injured again during rehab, pushed him back. So I think he's getting ready to come back and start again. But if he's not good, they don't have any good pitchers except for Kershaw. Kershaw's 50 years old. So they, I shouldn't say it that way. Miller's pretty damn good for them. He goes out there and throws the ball 70 million miles an hour. Those guys are pretty good. But they need, they don't have enough pitching to put them in a series and be like, okay, these guys can battle a series and win. So I think they need another starting pitcher, to battle with some of these teams they're going to face at the end. If you're going to put Kershaw and Miller as the two guys, and they got to face, I don't know, they got to face Wheeler and Nola or somebody. I don't think they're going to be. They're why would they be favored? Wheeler's the better pitcher over either one of them other two guys, and Nola can put up a fight against anybody. So they need somebody that can go out and pitch. That's a top kind of pitcher. Now, where do they get that guy from? Who are they going to trade to get? I don't know the answer to that. I don't listen to the ESPN guys and all these guys that make all these crazy things. They think Jack Flaherty is like one of the best guys to go get. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're going to put Jack Flaherty on a playoff team and watch him go out there and walk 5 guys and then try to get out of it every inning? That's not going to work. You need somebody else that you can go out and get. And the Dodgers can go buy whoever they want, or they can go do kind of whatever they want to do. So when it comes to, I don't know who's available, the White Sox might be imploding their team. Why couldn't you go get Dylan Cease? Why couldn't you go get a guy? I get it. The guy can walk some people, but you're the Dodgers. You fix people. So you put him out there and you let him throw 100 miles an hour, and you get him, in control of his pitches a little bit. And then all of a sudden, now you got a little bit of something. You know, you can throw Dylan Cease out there and he can match up, especially if he's in a good spot. You know, so there's guys up. I mean, Giolito is probably going to be available to some of these teams. Yeah, you know, so
Lance Lynn is at his highest point. He just struck out 16.
well, yeah, and he still lost. So I mean, that sucks. You know, go out there and strike out 16 guys and lose the game. I mean, that's just stupid. So you know, these teams, you know, need to be broken up. You know, I look at some of this stuff and just sit there and think about who's available, who's not available. I don't know, you know. Some of these teams might think that just because they're in the wild card spot that they're going to, you know, stick around and try to be in it. Maybe that's what they want to do. You know, like what's Boston going to do with Paxton? He can be a guy that, you know, the Dodgers could use or any team could use. You know what I mean? Like, there's a guy for you. You want a guy that can go out and get it done. Put Paxton on the mound in playoff games or whatever. Yeah, you know, like the Minnesota Twins, right? They got good pitching. You know, so maybe they give up one of their guys and get some guys that can damn hit, because that team needs some hitters or something. But, you know, Paxton, I think would be a good fit for somebody. You know, Sale's not going to be there the rest of the year, right? And so what are you going to do? You're going to just kind of ride it out. I don't think they're going to go for it to try to win that division or anything. So get what you can get for Paxton and keep building that team or doing whatever you're going to do with that team. And maybe you get somebody that, you know, can build on and grow with for next year. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just making up stuff as I'm thinking about it. But some of these teams need players like that can go out and throw and you know and get some outs. That's one of the things I look at when I'm doing these handicapping things is, can you get outs? And there's the swing strike percentage is an important number when it comes to that. Swing strike percentage is a ball that's thrown in the strike zone that guys swing and miss on. And if you're double digits in those categories, that's pretty damn good. You got stuff that can get people out. But if you're, I don't know, I'm just looking at the board and what I got in front of me here. So swing strike percentage. So if you have like Stroman, right? We talk about Stroman. You can probably go get him too, because he needs to be signed by somebody. But his swing strike percentage is 8.8%. So that means that he doesn't have a pitch that he can throw in there that you're going to swing and miss at. So when he's in trouble, he needs his defense. So if you're the Phillies, your defense sucks. Would you want to go out there and get Stroman and put him on the mound and go, oh my God, I need to rely on you throwing a ground ball here so I can get out? I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather go get Paxton and have him throw the ball right by your ass and you can't hit it. You know what I mean? That's baseball. And that's kind of how things work is can you get an out when you need it? And how is that out done? You know, if you can't get a swing and miss, that means the defense has to play. And you better make sure that the ball's hit to that guy or that hit to the fielder. And that's how you get out. But that's reliant on a lot of things. And in today's world, that's not how it works. You know, there's the 3 true outcomes, and the pitchers are all accountable for home runs, walks, and strikeouts. And you better be good at all of that. If you're not going to pitch.
The Angels 11-3 their last 14. Their back end has been stupid silly. They've got us a few times, whether it's a team total against or came back and won after giving up crooked numbers in the first couple innings, and then they're just wheeling these guys out and no one's hitting them. The fact that if the playoffs started today, I think I read correctly that they're in the playoffs right now, which kind of puts them rock in a hard place with, you know, trying to potentially move Shohei at the All-Star break, which probably most likely it would take a monster of all monsters as a deal to get that done. So he could end up going to free agency. at the end of the year. American League, you got your Rays that came out, ran away, and they're just hiding. Jays struggling, Yankees banged up, Red Sox, as we talked about not going anywhere, and the pesky Orioles. Again, I think the Red Sox and the Orioles are just going to beat up on themselves, and they're going to be right around 500. But the Orioles are playing well above 500. My point is, break down the American League and what you're seeing and what you expect moving forward.
Let me switch to my numbers. So the way I've got the American League right now is in the American League East. I got Tampa Bay winning 97 games. That's a lot, but I mean they've already won 50 some. So I mean that means they only have to beat 500 or so, and they can win 97 games. So this is where I think things are going to get divergent for me compared to most people. So I got Toronto at 87 wins, Jeff, and I got the Yankees right now at 86. Now that means that Judge is coming back and then whatever, but I mean, so then I got Boston and Baltimore at 83 wins, and Baltimore right now is like everybody's holy crap, they're the greatest thing in the world. Let me remind everybody that the ace, the number one pitcher, the best pitcher Baltimore can throw out there is Kyle Gibson. Okay, let me remind you of that because if you don't pitch, you're going to give up games. You just are. Now, I get it. They have a great bullpen, and they do. So they try to get you through 5-6 innings and then bring on these other guys. But I think that it's going to be hard for them. So I have them above 500, but I don't have them being this dynamic team that everybody else thinks they are. So in the American League West, I have Texas at 92 wins right now. Now, 92 is the second highest on my numbers for the American League. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that's a pretty reasonable number because those guys are pitching. John Gray is having a hell of a season. Even though DeGrom got blown out, Evaldi and Gray, they're just carrying that team. Heaney can pitch against anybody on any given night. Of course, he can be as bad as anybody on any given night too. Dane Dunning has probably worn out his welcome at this point. I mean, he was really good, but I think Dane Dunning is what Dane Dunning is. So as Texas kind of feeds on through, what people don't really realize, I suppose, is they got as much money as the Dodgers. They'll go buy whoever they want to. They can go get Paxton. They can go get somebody or maybe they like Stroman. I don't know. But they can go get somebody and be a good pitcher for them because they can hit. They got an offense. So and maybe they go get a bullpen piece or something because their bullpen's not the best in the world. So I like Texas in that division. Now I shouldn't say that I like them so far as crazy, but Houston, I got them at 88 wins, and I got the Angels at 87 wins. And then I got Seattle at 85 and Oakland at 59. So when I'm looking at these numbers and kind of looking at playoff spots, kind of the way I'm looking at it right now is obviously I got the Rays in, right? I got Texas in, and I got Minnesota right now. So those three teams. So you need three more. So the next best three teams on my list are going to be looks like Toronto, the Angels, and probably somebody like either the Yankees or Seattle. Because there's only going to be one come out of the Central, and I got Minnesota winning the Central. That doesn't mean they will, but I think they got enough pitching. Their offense isn't that good, but they got enough pitchers to throw out there every single day. They're kind of going through a bad spell right now, but they got pitchers that can go out there and pitch every single day that keep them in the game. And Cleveland's got another kid coming up that's supposed to pitch either tomorrow or the next day. I forget what his name is, but he's like the number 10 prospect in all of baseball. He's going to be on the mound for them in the next day or two. So Cleveland can pitch, and evidently scored some runs here lately. So they're kind of on a little bit of a run. But I still like, the pedigree of Minnesota's pitching to get there. And I think that Rodon will come back for the Yankees just after the All-Star break, somewhere in there. And I think that's going to matter. And I think Judge will be back around that same time. And I think that the Yankees could go on a pretty good run where they don't lose a whole lot of games in the whole back half. And I think they could find a way to get in. I don't like Seattle. I like Seattle's pitchers. I just don't like their offense. I know that this is going to sound bad, but I don't like Julio Rodriguez. I think that he was a flash in the pan last year where he did pretty well. He's not doing terrible, but he's one of those guys that, he's a me guy. I'm going to go up there and hit home runs, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And you got to be more than that if you want to carry a team, and he can't carry that team. So the offensively, here's the one guy, Jeff, that I'm going to tell you that matters the most to any team other than Aaron Judge, because obviously the Yankees are nothing without him. Fernando Tatis Jr., dude. That guy has played 20 some less games than any other Padre, and he already has more hits, more home runs, more RBIs, more runs, more stolen bases than all them assholes. And you know what pisses me off is that the what's his name, Juan Soto, going around the bases, going bleep bleep bleep, doing all that stupid stuff that he was doing the other day. Look, man, you're all about getting 60 walks so far. 60 walks. How many runs that drive in? None. Okay, none.
That's because of the nerds, and he's playing for a contract.
Yeah, well, he ain't going to get – who's going to pay him to walk 60 times?
But the nerds believe in those stupid-ass abbreviations.
You should get – what's that guy's name for the Oakland? Is Jory Perez or whatever he is for the Oakland A's. Get that guy and let him walk 60 times, and he'll steal 75 bases. You give what's his name, Juan Soto 60 walks, and he stands around and picks his nose and waits for somebody else to do all his work. He's a phony. He's a fraud. And I say that, and he's a superstar in the Major League Baseball, but he is, man. If look what Tatis has done since he's got there. He makes that whole thing go, and Machado will piggyback off of that, and then Bogarts will kind of piggyback into there, and then who knows what Soto's going to do. But the point being is that if Tatis stays healthy, San Diego is going to find a way, and they'll be in the playoffs. They might even win the division.
And before we close up, the one guy you talked about, the Guardians finally scored, and they got pitching to burn. They brought up Bibby a few weeks ago. Sticks is back now; he's back on the IL. But they have some young arms, and they were talks that I thought the prize pitcher out there. And you brought up Paxton, by the way. That was a good name to bring up because the Sox aren't going anywhere. But is Bieber, and he's the one that if the Guardians move him, he'll be the prize. Thoughts on them? Are they going to hold off till the All-Star break, or do they eventually move him to the highest bidder?
I think Cleveland moves fast.
Okay.
Think about what they did with Lindor. Think about what they've done with some of these players. They move fast. They don't wait. So I think they move fast. By the way, the kid's name for Cleveland that's going to pitch is Gavin Williams. He's 6'6", 250 pounds, and he's a hell of a pitcher. So anyway, I think they move fast, and why not? I mean, what do they got to lose? I don't think they got anything to lose. I think that if they can. They need guys that can hit. I was pretty skeptical of the Bell signing in the offseason anyway. And none of their guys can do anything except for the third baseman Ramirez. That guy can play. He can hit. He's not going to hit you 50 home runs, and they probably need a guy that can hit 50 home runs at this point. But Those guys they got from the Mets in that deal for Lindor, they were good last year. They're not quite as good this year. But I have a hard time thinking that lineup and those hitters are going to catch the Twins and what the Twins can do on the mound. Now, the Twins have their own issues with scoring runs, but their biggest issue is a guy that plays center field for them, Byron Buxton. Byron Buxton's supposed to be a major league superstar, and he has been. And I know he's been hurt and he's been dinged up, and he got hurt again this year, and he's been dinged up. Well, that guy's supposed to hit 300, 280. He's supposed to hit 30 home runs and drive in 100 runs. He ain't that guy, not right now. But if he turns it on and he becomes that guy that he can be, and Correa doesn't have to carry everything, then I think that you'll see the Twins offense start to click a little bit. I think you'll see them do pretty well. I think they got a pretty good manager in Minnesota. I think that guy's pretty good. Not that I don't think the Cleveland manager is pretty good. I think he's good too. But I just think lineup wise and talent wise, I think Minnesota's better. I think they have more options and more ways to win. I think they have a decent bullpen. They don't have Cleveland's bullpen. Not many people do. But Cleveland doesn't have the starting rotation. And, I think we can say everything we want to about Bieber. I like Bieber, but at the same time, I like Bieber. I don't like him in a playoff game. Not one bit, not at all. What wins in a playoff game? It ain't the guy that throws the ball 80 miles an hour and tries to find the spot on the outside right-hand spot of the corner of the pitch, because they're going to get crushed. He gets crushed in the playoffs. You need a guy that's going to go out there and be a bulldog and throw the ball in on somebody's hands. And I don't know that he can do that, because they'll turn on that thing and he might help get you there. But when you have to be in the playoffs, I don't know, unless you're playing home games in Yosemite Park where you hit the ball and it goes out, it won't leave the yard or something. I struggle with the ability that a soft tosser like that is going to be good in the playoffs. I think of Zach Greinke as a guy that's been good for years. And back in the day, he could throw hard, but, he gets hit. They just don't have a way to get you out. You know what I mean? They don't have a pitch. They don't have a pitch that, unless you swing at a ball, that you can get out with. They can't get you out unless you hit it in a wrong spot. So I think that it's important that whoever goes out and makes a deal for Bieber, I don't know who's. I mean, the Dodgers need pitching just as bad as almost any team does, but they already tried Syndergaard. He can throw the ball up there very well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say Bieber Syndergaard, because that's a bad take. Bieber is much better, but he's not an ace. He's not. He's a good pitcher, but he's not an ace. He's not the guy. Now, if you got an ace and he's your third best pitcher, and you need him to try to win one of the games, and maybe your two best pitchers were on the road and he's your first game at home, well, maybe that works. I don't know. And he only has to pitch one or two times, and he's in pretty good spots or something. Maybe that works. I don't, maybe that could work for a playoff contending team, but I don't think that you're going to find him as valuable. In my mind, he's not as valuable as Paxton. I mean, I know I keep saying that, but Paxton goes up there and still throws 95 to 98 miles an hour, and he can get your ass out. You know what I mean? Like, the ball's going to move and you're going to swing and not hit it. That's not going to happen with Bieber. You're going to foul it off until you get one that you can rip off the monster somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to hit one. And that's the way it works. Major League Baseball is all about how the pitcher controls the game from the mound. And if you can't control the game from the mound, you're at the mercy of your defense and the mercy of the quality of where you locate the pitch. Because hitters are stupid, Jeff. They go up there, and if you throw the ball if you're a left-handed batter and you throw the ball in the outside corner, they're going to try to pull the ball, and they do all this, and they roll it over, and they hit ground balls, and pitchers know all this shit. So they get you out because hitters are stupid. They swing at bad pitches over and over and over. But what if they don't? And what happens in the playoffs? Those guys get laser sharp, and they don't swing at stuff that is bad balls and stuff that they shouldn't be. They don't. You got to get them out. And if you're a pitcher and you don't have a way to get them out, you're in trouble, and you can't throw those guys out there. You cannot put a pitcher on the mound that doesn't have a way to get out of it. So every one of the pitchers that pitch in the playoffs, you watch, they'll throw 95 miles an hour, all of them. And then you get the bullpen guys, they'll all throw 100. That's the way it works. And that's because they can get outs.
Scroll has been going the whole time, Scotty. I know they know where you can find you on Twitter, obviously at Webby20MLB. Tell them about your Telegraph, your service, where they can get all your plays.
Well, I have a Telegram page, and I got people that subscribe to that, and all I do in there is I put out information every day. So if you want to know like my numbers, I make lines on every game, and I put them out there. And then there's predictions in there on strikeout props, and there's predictions in there on scores of the games, and then I put down a breakdown of all that pitching information that you'd ever want. It's all in there, and it's out there every day. Now you get that because I can't just make photo clips of all these different tabs of stuff I have. So it doesn't work for me to put 30 different pages out there, but you get those every day, all the time, and you can decide to make your bets off that information. Now I will also put, when I make wagers, I put them in there and say, I bet this game today, or I bet that game today. You can follow along and play that way, or you can just say, oh, Scott, you're a dumbass, and I'm not playing that. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. But the point being is that you can get the information, and if you have a question, you can certainly ask and learn from somebody who's been around for 55 million years. And I will say this though, Jeff, one of the best insights that I have is that I've been in the dugout. I've been there. I've talked to the pitchers. I know what the pitching coaches say. I know how to call balls and strikes as a catcher, because that's what I was. I threw Ken Griffey Jr. out stealing second base, all that bullshit that everybody's heard before. But the point being is that those insights are important to be able to read the data correctly, because a lot of people look at this stuff and they go, blah, 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 and then they go, okay, well, I didn't win. And then they go, blah, 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 well, I didn't win either. I don't win every day either. Well, shit, there was a time I didn't think I was ever going to win again. But that's turned around. Everything changes. It's all cyclical, right? You get off to a good start, things go bad, and then all of a sudden you're winning again. And that's kind of where we are now. We're winning again. And so anyway, point being is that if you have questions, ask. And I'm a pretty friendly guy for the most part, even though sometimes I'm a grumpy old man. But for the most part, I'm a pretty friendly guy, and I'll answer whatever questions that you have as best I can, and hopefully help you win.
So go do it. Go jump to it. The Webby odds, they're amazing. I love watching them every day, and check my numbers with his numbers. And usually when we're on the same side, we're hitting at about 72, 73%. Some quick updates. Zeros, Atlanta, Philly, top of the fourth. Cubs 1-0, top of the third. St. Louis 2-0 on a Dylan Carlson homer at Washington. Colorado 1-0. In the bottom of the second. Baltimore now 6-0, bottom of the third at Tampa. KC, Detroit, top of 5 zeros. New York Yankees 3-0. We're getting Kirby'd here. Top of the third. Oakland, Cleveland zeros in the bottom of the second. And it looks like Toronto and Miami zeros, top of 5. Scotty, always a pleasure catching up with you every Tuesday. To everyone watching and listening, we thank you. Stick and stay. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Andrew McGinnis from Wager Talk. We'll be talking some CFL. 6 o'clock, Brady Cannon. We'll be talking some PGA and some Travelers. We'll recap the U.S. Open, and we'll go from there. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Beam 'em Up, Scotty Webb at Webby20 MLB. Wish everyone a blessed evening. Cash some tickets, and we will see you soon.